Hello and welcome to Enlightened Empaths, your community for the spiritually awakened, where we discuss, explore, and connect with fellow empaths, healers, intuitives, and seekers. Hello, empaths. Boy, do we have an exciting show for you. Joining us on the show today are the wonderfully talented, super famous, and just incredible Astro Twins to talk about their newest book. From the matchmakers behind Prime Video's Cosmic Love, the first astrology reality dating show, comes a new book designed to keep the sizzle in any relationship by looking to the stars. Supercouple, Astrology Secrets for a Sexy, Soulful, and Satisfying Relationship with Any Zodiac Sign, is written for those in a relationship no matter how long they've been together. It takes a deep dive into the third chart that's created when two people come together. The composite chart, aka the Supercouple Chart, is a relationship roadmap that's written in the stars. By unlocking the secrets of their unique Supercouple Chart, any couple can understand why they came together and what their destiny may hold. Supercouple helps readers answer the burning relationship questions they may never say out loud. Can we come back from this? Do we have a future together? Will I ever feel sexy and attractive with my partner again after all we've been through? And so much more. This book, you guys, is so chock full of information. You will do a deep dive down a fantastic and fun, enriching, and eye-opening rabbit hole when you pick up this book and start to discover what is really holding your couple together. So thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thank you. We're so glad to be back.
We are too. All right, before we dive into the specifics of the book, can you just start by telling us about meeting Beyonce? Because that's one of the first things in your book, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that must have been amazing.
absolutely. Yeah, that was one of the more fun surprises of our career. In 2003, we got invited to go to the Billboard Music Awards and sit backstage in one of those celebrity swag rooms. So, and just do readings for the parade of celebs who came through. We had just kind of really started our business then. So we're like, okay, sure. And Beyonce was one of the people that came through. She was just kind of like starting with some solo collaborations. Her Jay-Z, I think it was like Crazy in Love, Bonnie and Clyde songs were hits, and she was going to be performing them. So she ends up sitting down, and she has a Scorpio moon like us, so she's very interested in the intricacies of her chart. And yeah, we started telling her about her chart. She was fascinated. And Tali was like, so we've heard the rumor about a certain someone. Do you want a composite chart made, like, which is the super couple chart? And she was like, yes. So we did the chart, and the next day, we were there for 3 days. The next day she was running on stage to perform, and she walked by me, and she actually stopped and thanked me and said, I stayed up really late reading that chart. It was so interesting. So that was 2003, but hey, we like to think we might have had something to do with her having twins.
That's amazing. I love that story. And that couple has had their ups and downs, but I think you can tell they're really meant to be together.
Oh, well, yeah. Exactly. Well, yeah. And again, it's a choice, that's the thing. Like, together they became a Libra. So yeah, that
what I was going to
say.
Were. Supercouple chart is chock full of Libra and Scorpio planets. So yeah, they couldn't obviously stay away from each other regardless of all the shenanigans.
Of him being a Sagittarius and her being a Virgo, very different signs on their own. So they're always going to have to navigate that. But their super couple chart gives them sort of a second life there.
Wow.
That's what's really, really wonderful in this book is it holds a mirror up to you, and you have to say, oh, this is what I'm bringing to the relationship. This is what I might have brought to a prior relationship. And for me, maybe it doesn't work this way for everyone, but it really helped me to see someone in a different light. And what part am I owning in the positives and what part am I owning in the negatives? And that's not always easy to do.
It's certainly
not at all.
And what's also, nice about having this third chart is, you're also able to kind of step outside of that blaming vibe to like, oh, you did this, or I'm going to beat myself up, which I love to do, like I should have done this. The ruminating, that we spend like, this is a great book for kind of reviewing all the past relationships too, but it's kind of like, what did the relationship need? And maybe like, well, that's why it didn't work, because I didn't want to give it that,
Okay, so for astrology beginners or people like me who are super interested in astrology but don't really understand all of it, first of all, I want to tell listeners that the book is 500 pages. It's huge, and it has charts and graphs and pictures, and it walks you through step by step. So if you are a complete novice like me, don't think, oh, I can't use that book. No, it's meant for everyone. So it will walk you through. But for beginners like me, when you say a third chart, can you tell listeners, what does that mean? How do you take two charts and make a third chart? What are you using as the baseline?
Yeah, well, so when you take your birth time and data on the other person's, you put it into our composite chart calculator and it averages it. So it's called the midpoint. So like it finds the exact middle between your chart and the other person's chart and finds that exact blend. So it's literally like splitting the wishbone or finding that perfect middle ground between you. And that's why it's such a great path to harmony. So we jokingly say, did you know that your relationship actually has a zodiac sign? Because it does. It's like, it's, in layperson's terms, you could say like there's you, the other person, and the relationship as a third entity. So this is really just the astrological chart of that third entity.
But I never knew that. I always thought like you would do a chart for yourself and you do a chart for your partner and you would compare and contrast and interpret it. But I never knew there was this whole composite third chart. And I think that's going to be new to many people, which is really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I want to mention before I forget, and I'll say it again, and we'll put it in the show notes as well. You can go to astrostyle.com/supercouple, and it will walk you through how to find and create this composite chart, which is, there's so much on there once you go to astrostyle.com/supercouple.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's true. It's true. A lot of people don't know that this even exists. They think you're a Virgo, I'm a Scorpio, we're good together, we're bad, and like we want to get relationships and the whole world need to get out of this you're right, I'm wrong, paradigm that we're stuck in. And that's why I think something like a super couple chart is so perfect to kind of revive now the composite chart, because it's like there is another way. So yeah.
Remember that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus? And it kind of left you feeling hopeless, like, oh, well, we're just so different. Whereas in this book, you walk through, like you say in one part, if you two have most of your houses or planets in the first, is it the 6 houses, you'll be focused on family. But if your planets are in these houses, you'll be focused on career. I'm overly simplifying, but
the first 6 houses at the bottom of the wheel are the personal houses. So if your chart, your super couple composite chart winds up having a bunch of action there, you might be happy with the white picket fence or the very family focused energy. Whereas if you're a couple whose combined chart is all the planets are mostly at the top half, you're going to be out there in the world, maybe power coupling, pursuing, traveling, pursuing big goals and dreams.
See, and I think that's great to be able to look at those themes.
Oh, for sure. Because, sometimes and that's what's also interesting is you can have 2 people who are on their own, very adventurous, for example, a Sagittarius and an Aquarius. But in their combined chart, they become a Capricorn, because that's a sign right in between the 2 of them. That's definitely happened for me. As a Sag, I've like always loved the humor and the fun of the Aquarius guys. And then like, it becomes like really rigid and like we lose our joie de vivre when we're together, And so why is that? Relationships will blend in ways and it's important to just know, is that what I want to get myself into,
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
or are we getting too, oh, here we go, getting so serious again. Let's pull ourselves out of this.
One of the things is throughout the book, which is incredible. Again, Samantha and I are in the same place with, we understand it, but we don't. So it's nice that your writing style,
Love that.
it's easy to follow, and it's not so over the top scientific. This planet is doing this with that planet. But you put these beautiful little cheat sheets in there. So if you're having right at the beginning, there's this cheat sheet for the planets. And if you're having one aspect of your relationship, you can zero right in on that and say, what is it that what we're going through? What can we do to help this? And I think that's incredible.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
We want it because communication is often the thing, and you can go right to Mercury, but maybe you want to spice things up with a little fantasy, and then you can go to Venus or Neptune, or, you're feeling, that you want to just be more emotionally connected. You can read about the composite moon, and because we're not always dealing with everything all at once. We just can't, so.
Yeah. And one of the problems with astrology is that everyone wants the benefits of it and everyone wants to use it in their lives, but it's often presented in this overwhelming way where it's like, whoa, you're speaking another language to me. And, if you give it to people a bite at a time or give them kind of a roadmap through it. So we very consciously wrote that book knowing this is actually a simple thing. You're just averaging the charts. The computer does it. Here's the chart of your relationship. Now you can print that out or look at it and go one planet at a time and read about it. But we know that it can be overwhelming for people. So we really do work hard to make sure that the information is presented in a way that can be used practically, and you don't have to speak astrology to use it.
Yeah, that's key. And that's what comes across really clearly. What are the three key parts of the supercouple chart that you talk about?
Well, there's
ahead,
the
Tali.
3-part puzzle, as we call it, the planets, the zodiac signs, and the houses. And that's for any chart, whether it's your personal chart or your supercouple chart. Now, to get the houses, you do have to know your birth times for both people to draw that up accurately. But we like to think of it as, so the planets are kind of like the players in the movie of your love story. It's like the sun might be, Bradley Cooper, Venus might be Sophia Loren, but depending on the roles that they play, those are, they show up very differently. And the zodiac signs are the roles that they play, the costumes that they wear. So, we like to say, let's say Mars is Lady Gaga. Well, she could either be like the hopeful, wide-eyed, rock star in A Star Is Born, that might be Mars in, Pisces.
Cancer.
Yeah, Cancer. And then, Mars in Scorpio could be, the House of Gucci, so where she was this sort of Victoria, I forgot what her name was again, something with a V, because it's
I
always
think it was Victoria.
Yeah. So she just so that the houses then are kind of the stages that these love stories take place on. Will the action take place in the home? Well, if Mars is in the 4th house, which is a lot like the 4th sign, Cancer, then it'll be, maybe there's this dramatic energy happening behind closed doors. But if Mars lands up, in the 9th house, which is like the 9th sign, Sagittarius, maybe you'll have this passionate travel, long distance relationship where you meet in different ports. So we really love to make astrology comprehend. If you just take it one piece of the puzzle at a time, so get to know what every planet means, and we have a guide to that. Then get to know its costume that it's wearing, its zodiac sign, and then see where it's most likely to act out, and that's the house. And that's kind of how you just read a chart, and it's just, you just do it over and over again, and all of a sudden it starts to click, and you're like, aha. So
I think the reason it clicks though is because it's usually validating. I don't know if you guys found it while reading Supercouple, it sounds like you did. It's like you look it up, you're like, oh, we were a Pisces sun together, no wonder I always felt guilty. Or, oh, we had a an Aries moon. No wonder we needed so much adventure and got bored easily. When you read the description of it, you can look back at past relationships and forgive yourself and the other person because you were actually under the influence of these cosmic forces that happened by the blend of your charts and your energy. So had you known, you might have made different choices, and you can for the future, but it can be very healing to look back at old relationships through Supercouple and be like, oh, like I'm a Sagittarius. I had a boyfriend who was a Capricorn, and he was from another country, and we kept meeting in all these different countries. So I found out we had been a Sagittarius together, which is the international sign. And I was like, no wonder we could never pick a country to gain any traction for the relationship, which obviously is no more. But
Sounds exciting, though.
Okay, it was exciting. We met in Paris as like a neutral middle ground. It actually was pretty romantic, but we couldn't get along in our own home country. So, so many relationships. Yeah.
Wow.
And that brings up a really good point, is in each one of these sections in Supercouple, you give the pros and the cons. So it's always a spectrum, and sometimes it's really good. It's so good that you like, damn, this is good. And then other times it's like, I don't know how much longer I can put up with this. So I feel like when you give that range, it might help someone say, oh, we're kind of drifting to that place in the pendulum. We need to kind of bring it back into why we fell in love to begin with, unless it's so extreme and you're snapping that twig and saying, oh, we're out. But it's really useful to be able to, again, look in the mirror and say, oh, when I would get really stubborn because this is my reaction to it, the person might have pulled back.
Okay,
because it is right there.
Yeah.
I have a question though. If you're just dating, let's say you're at, that third date and you're like, is this going to go further or is it not? I don't feel at the third date you could call up the potential boyfriend, girlfriend and say, excuse me, what time were you born? But let's say you wanted to do this.
There are ways.
Okay.
There are ways.
Yeah.
We like to go like, oh, it's 10 o'clock, my birth time. Or, oh, I think I always go to bed at night because I was born at 11:30. Are you a night or a morning person? Or, oh, I read a thing about people born in the morning are more like this. There are lots of special ways to get it out of people.
Yeah, true.
Can you get a good composite chart if you just know like, oh, they were born in the morning or the afternoon, or does it need, okay.
There
I think you can.
some things that are a little bit off, like again, but sometimes you won't know their birth time anyways. If you look, every planet goes from 0 to 29 degrees. That's, the little geometry, we've got the astrology wheel. It's a circle, 360 degrees. You divide it by 12. Each one is 30 degrees. So 0 to 29 degrees. So if you have a plant, you can look at the little degrees on the chart. And if one is 0 degrees, it might be the sign before, or it might be that sign. Or if it's 29 degrees, it might be the sign after. So you might want to read both of them.
Those are the iffy ones. Yeah.
It's like an early or a late degree. Then, you may have to sort of just suss it out on your own. But I think
most likely you can find like the sun and the moon, not the rising accurately without the time, and Venus and Mars, which are love planets. So I think it's a good idea to scope that out, like not to be like, uh-oh, we're going to be a Scorpio, better call this off, but like, oh, isn't that interesting? This is kind of one of the directions it might go into. So
perfect. Okay, good.
Another really important facet of this book is that you break it down into the seasons of relationships. Because I always joke and say, oh, I'm in Act 3. Okay, that's great. But when you look at, season 1, ready for adulting, like that your focus is so different when you're 26 to 32 versus when you're in stage 4 or in season 4. So my question would be, do you find that the chart evolves in any way? So you have a long-term couple that have gone through each of these seasons together. Have they learned to find more fluidity in their charts, or does it just transfer from season to season?
I think it's in the way that you have to grow and adapt together. Not every couple will make it. They both have to consciously, it depends on how they meet these things that happen. So we defined 4 seasons for adulthood that also are shaped by major planetary trends that can last 2 or 3 years at a time, that happen in these windows, like age, I think it's like 25 to 32 is like, you're going to have what's called your first Saturn return, which is sort of your astrological adulthood. So in that time, anyone of that age is going to face these tests of their maturity. No matter how mature they are naturally, they're all going to go through this kind of identity crisis where it's like, am I ready for something serious? Yes, but I don't know who I am yet in the world. So if you got married before your Saturn return, for example, and you go through that super couple season, as we called it, you're still going to have to figure out your own stuff. No matter what your super couple chart is, it's going to be happening against the backdrop of that. The 40s are actually quite a turbulent time. You go through something called the Uranus opposition, the midlife crisis. Recently, Adam Levine of Maroon 5 got into hot water and then some for having that midlife crisis. When I heard about it, I was like, he's got to be 42. And he is, because there's this moment that happens, and it can be really scary and disconcerting, because you picked your partner, you're happily going along, and then 40, 41, 42 will come, and this energy just rushes up from the planets, and you just are like, why do I suddenly want to be a teenager? Why am I having this last gasp of my youth? It kind of coincides with hormones too, but it's fascinating. You can track it to the planet. So the reason we included that in the super couple book was because a lot of people beat themselves up. They blame themselves and beat themselves up and shame themselves for not being these perfect partners who are like, I'm now living happily ever after. And we just created a reality show about that. It's like, really, the stuff after the wedding and the honeymoon or the commitment should be the most interesting part, but it's almost like, okay, end of story, now let's go on to the next couple until they get to it's like it's such a rich time, but nobody talks about it except for like how to fix your sex-starved marriage. It's like they give you a book when it's too late. So we want super couple to be kind of like a prevention. Guess what? It's okay. You're attracted to your sexy coworker in the IT department who comes and fixes your printer, or whatever. Like, you're just going through your Uranus opposition. You don't have to act on it. Because people are like, I'm wrong, I'm bad. And we want to take shame out of relationships.
Yes, I totally agree with that. Although Adam Levine DMing those women while his wife was pregnant.
Unforgivable. Unforgivable.
Yeah.
Didn't want to make light of that.
Those
but,
early,
but
40s, that early 40s season is often one of the most, like when there's the most, naughtiness and just kind of the biggest meltdowns tend to happen then.
Yeah,
So,
you see that all the time. I knew about the Saturn return, but see the Uranus opposition's new to me. You couple the super couples into these wonderful phrases where you give every composite super couple kind of a style name. Like I wrote some of them down: sensual, security, emotional ocean. I love that. And again, it's pointing out the positive that every couple has when they do come together.
Today's episode is sponsored by mylifeinabook.com. If you're looking for a really cool gift to impress your parents, your grandparents, your loved ones, your in-laws, your great aunt, anyone who has the stories, I always say there's someone in the family that's the keeper of the stories. And this is a really great choice because it's a fun way to get to know your loved ones better, collect those timeless memories for future generations, and bring the family together. It's simple. You select from a series of fun and exciting questions that you might not think to ask, such as what's your funniest memory, or what was your first job, or why did you choose to move later on in life? It can be anything, but there would be pictures connected with that so that you have the visual and you have the story itself. There is also an audio component. So if you choose, you can hear the stories. And I mean, I just have this vision in my mind of people sitting around and listening to these stories and comparing notes and laughing and bringing them back to life through that legacy. With mylifeinabook.com, you can show your loved ones that they're meaningful to the family, help build their legacy, and preserve those precious memories. There's someone that you love right now who can still share who they are, what they've experienced, what you want to gift to future generations. And you can do that with mylifeinabook.com. To save $10 off your first purchase, use discount code ENLIGHTENED. That's enlightened to get $10 off mylifeinabook.com. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. High quality, the pictures, the print, the weight of the pages. It's a beautiful keepsake. So again, mylifeinabook.com, $10 off. Use the discount code ENLIGHTENED.
I want to also talk about how, so we've got the Supercouple book, but you've also got your 2023 horoscope book coming out. Well, it's out now, and it's,
Yep.
I loved your 2022, so I can't wait to dive into the 2023. Can you talk about that a little bit and give us some hope for the new year?
Actually, we're calling 2023 the year of what if, because there's two directions that we can go in right now. One is what if in terms of innovation and creativity, and the other is what if in terms of like, spinning into cataclysmic thinking, like what if this, what if that. So what's happening next year is that we're really being asked to use the law of attraction again. Dust off your old copy of The Secret, because our thoughts really are going to be, and our focus is going to be far more essential for us. We can't just spin off and spiral out. There's some really great things happening in terms of just like a rebalancing of our ability to cooperate and work together when the north and south nodes move into Libra and Aries on July 17th. So we are going to learn what harmony means once again. But there are some huge shifts happening. Pluto, which is the planet of transformation, is moving into Aquarius for the first time since the Constitution was ratified. So 1778, yeah. So lots of democracy conversations happening again. We're entering the year having a lot more courage about facing the unknown, and we're still going to need to generate some of that next year too. But
that's why we wrote the book that I think has more pages than any we've ever done, because there's such major things happening. Pluto in Aquarius, it's been in Capricorn for 16 years, since 2008, which was and Capricorn rules government. I mean, think about the shifts we've had since Obama came into office that year. Bitcoin was invented that year. Capricorn also rules the economy. So now it's moving into Aquarius, which rules technology. And we have Elon Musk and Twitter and all these sort of, cryptocurrency going through
UFOs, it's
UFOs, gender,
it is a bit of a sci-fi energy coming in, but we're going to handle it better. We're going to greet it with more so Saturn, which is kind of the anchor planet, is moving into Pisces on March 7th for 3 years, which is a sign of compassion. And I think we're going to see spirituality making a nice comeback in terms of just people being able to come together in some ways. But Yeah.
It's an interesting contrast to Pluto, because Pluto's going technological, Saturn's going spiritual. So it's we always already see, I guess, early signs of what's ahead. So Pluto's going to be in Aquarius for 20 years, more than 20 years. So if we aren't hanging out and cohabitating with aliens by the 2040s, I'll be very surprised. Maybe we already are. And,
Well, I think what I'm looking forward to in this Pluto phase is I think that science is going to have to become, more focused on solutions and what we're doing for climate change. One of the reasons, so we have an Egyptian themed cover this year because we found that during one of the Pluto in Capricorn to Aquarius cycles was a time when Egypt was affected by climate change. There were these mega droughts that happened, and people came in and invaded Egypt and this entire global trade network, and society had to completely shift as a result of that. And so we are seeing that, obviously we all know that society is going to have to shift as we move forward because the planet can't handle it. But I think technology, we will do something surprising and Plutonian where we'll probably be able to figure out how to reverse some of the impacts instead of trying, because it's not working to do, let's stop the emissions, let's stop using, there's something that we have, whenever Pluto hits a new placement, there's something that is unseen that comes out of left field. And I think that some technology and scientific developments are coming that we cannot even possibly predict. When Pluto went into Sagittarius, the sign of publishing, in 1995 to 2008, we were reading paper magazines, and then at the end we have smartphones.
Swiping.
So what is a smartphone of, what's this new? So I feel hopeful that science will be able to move us in a new direction that's unanticipated, but also that there's reasons to be nervous about that too. So the year of what if, right? What if we could solve this, but what if people take it in the wrong direction? So we're going to have to go back and forth. That's where our spirituality comes in handy always, to bring us back to what's true inside of ourselves.
That's fascinating.
Hopefully that compassion coming in is going to help with the division that people are feeling so strongly. So when you're talking about this, I'm thinking, if you put the topic of technology on the table, there are people that are so, artificial intelligence, that's our future, we have to do this.
Right.
And then there are people like the extreme opposite saying, my tinfoil hat's too tight. No. So I feel like we're trying to find that balance between the two. And what you're saying is, best case scenario, we could be coming into a time of more balance.
We could
on the other side of things.
Certainly when the South Node goes into Libra. However, I think that people who aren't willing to advance and get it, and keep up with the times are going to feel maybe more left out and disenfranchised. But who's to say? They may go, like Pluto and Aquarius. Aquarius is a sign of community as well. I think people will become even more tribal in a way, in terms of this is what I want. This is what I believe.
With the connection with the technology, there's also a huge call for a lot of people back to the earth, back to nature, back to healing, back to taking care of the climate. Is that indicative in what's coming up as well with the planets?
It is actually,
Yeah.
because Jupiter, which is thank God, I'm really happy about this. On May 16th, it's going to move into Taurus, which is the native Earth sign, and it'll be there for a whole year. So I think we can look forward to people really becoming vocal and insistent on protecting the earth and science being used in service of the earth. So we hope
the best case scenarios.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
Let's
look,
put it out there.
the people, for the people listening who want to consciously create the reality, because like Tali said, the law of attraction is kind of back. in 2023. So for people who are like, where should I set my intentions and direct my energy? It is going to be to spend more time in nature, to create conscious use of technology, to cultivate compassion, because Saturn can structure, but can also restrict. So in Pisces, some people become less compassionate. Other people will say, hey, we need to formalize compassion and write it into sort of our way of being. Pluto can destroy in order to rebuild, or it can transform and reveal what's been hidden in the shadows. So we will see what the shadow side of technology is. I mean, as the mother of a 12-year-old, I already know what it is, because you can't fight the city hall of TikTok and Snapchat and all of these and games and everything like that. But it's also like, how can we use what kids are learning that's positive from technology? I mean, Google Classroom during the pandemic was also a lifesaver for education. So sorting out what's good, what's bad. It's going to be the year of the water rabbit. In lunar Chinese astrology, the rabbit is associated with the planet Neptune. Neptune is illusions. So things aren't, and it's the ruler of Pisces. So things are not what we see. In the year of what if, I would encourage people not to take things at face value. Observe and watch, but don't assume that the first thing you see is reality. Like, watch before you just react, because people can be very quick to react, especially in the first half of the year when Jupiter is in Aries, and anger and emotion and impulsivity is highlighted, and the North Node goes in there. So we're going to learn the balance between conflict and peace, hopefully come out with some new conflict resolution strategies. Sometimes it just has to get worse before it gets better in some cases, but if we all do our part, then it gets better faster.
Okay, this Mars retrograde in Gemini that we're in right now is affecting me more than any Mercury retrograde has. I feel like it's a Mercury retrograde on steroids, even though I know it's not the same thing, but I'm still having issues with time. Like, I don't know, time management has been hard for me during this. A lot of communication has been spotty and off. I'm having to really double and triple check before I hit send on email, or people are misinterpreting what I'm saying, and we're having conversations. Stuff from the past is coming back. Can you talk to us about the intensity of this Mars retrograde? It's going on until January.
Part of the reason why it feels like till January 12th. So from August 20th to January 12th. Part of the reason why it feels so much like Mercury retrograde is because it's happening in the sign of Gemini. So Mars is traveling through Gemini, the Gemini part of the sky, and it's appearing to be going backwards through that. So Gemini rules distraction. So maybe the time management is like, you just can't focus. It's a little bit of like astrological ADD.
Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So we're feeling that Mercury kind of retrograde energy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very,
so it is on steroids, because Mars is steroids. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
True. And I'm a Gemini, so I guess it's even harder for that.
Yeah.
Right. And
there's that too.
It's going over your sun. So it's hard. Yeah. Mars retrograde it was in Aries in 2020 when all of the kind of the protests started to implode and go from these peaceful, idealistic come together moments to just fighting in the streets. And a sad resonance, there was the shooting at the Colorado Springs Club Q gay nightclub. Well, there was the Pulse Orlando one happened in June of 2016 when Mars was retrograde in Scorpio. So a lot of times Mars retrograde will dovetail with Mars as the combat soldier planet.
A fighter.
Yeah, so there'll be more violence, which is not, anything. And unfortunately, going through the holidays, and Mercury will be retrograde on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So, oh my God, we're telling everyone to make your Start thinking of your resolutions, but wait until the first new moon of the year, which is on January 21st of 2023, to actually, really solidify those intentions, because Mercury is retrograde from December 29th, 2022 to January 18th, 2023. So we'll start the year.
Not a bad idea, though, to take a time out at the beginning of the year. I think we could all use a little chill out period. People are like, okay, we can have a holiday again. So they're a little unleashed. There's all this energy that's been pent up during the pandemic, kind of like somebody pulled the cork out of the champagne bottle. It's spraying all over the room. So that's kind of how the energy of the world is feeling in some places right now. So this Mercury retrograde might be a little bit helpful. Even the Mars retrograde, the message is to slow down. The message is stop trying to do all the million things that especially you as a Gemini would be doing. It's like, don't multitask. Do less if you can, but do things one at a time and do them well. It's not like I can, I'm actually practicing that. I'm feeling overwhelmed by all the million things I have to do. But and Mars only goes retrograde every 2 years. So we often forget the wisdom of it by the time it comes back around. So until January 12th, slow down.
That pressure to go, do. And at the same time, the pressure to stop, slow down. And it's very frustrating.
It is frustrating. It just, and sometimes just acknowledging that, like, of course we can give you tips for what to do about it, but just sometimes just acknowledge the emotion. I'm frustrated, like really can help a lot.
Yeah. I'm taking this day off, period. End of story.
Yeah. I'm going to cut what I can do in half, my to-do list, and save some for tomorrow, and life will go on.
The best New Year's resolution might be to just give yourself some time to rest and digest for the first 3 weeks of the year.
Oh, I like that a lot. Wow. So you're bringing this beautiful book, Supercouple, so people can enhance and embrace and recognize. How can they use both? Because I'm sitting here listening and I'm thinking, you need to have a book on the left and the 2023 book on the right. And can you apply what's coming up for everybody to the Supercouple book to enhance what you're doing as a couple?
Absolutely. Well, what the 2023 book is probably going to tell you when you want to pull Supercouple off of the shelf, because Venus, the planet of love, will be retrograde this summer. It's actually spending 4 whole months in Leo from June the 5th to June 5th to October 8th, I think it is, or right around there. But I know for a fact that it will be retrograde from July 22nd to September 3rd. So because it's spending this long time in Leo, the sign of passion, the sign of romance, we really do get this extended summer of love, but all the issues are going to need to be worked on during that retrograde. So arm yourself with Supercouple and prepare yourself. Also, when the South Node moves into Libra,
I was thinking that too.
July 17th, relationships are going to become a really important thing that people are going to want to work on again. And
balancing your relationship with your individuality is going to be a theme from next July for a year and a half. So we're going to need this new set of skills that Supercouple will give you. 2023, the book is meant to just kind of guide you through every day, those day-to-day choices. Supercouple is forever, for whatever, any moment that you need to navigate. We all need a new set of skills to navigate this kind of 5D universe that we're living in. We need 5D relationship skills, which are not about ownership and control and jealousy and possessiveness and rules and all the things we've been taught that relationships are for so many centuries, about, millennium, whatever. They're rooted in old property values when people stopped being nomads and became farmers and settled and started to carve out turf and treat each other like that. And we're moving away from that in this Aquarian era. And with Pluto going into Aquarius, it's going to be even less relevant to bring those old, outmoded things to relationships. So we did write Supercouple with the intention of helping people cultivate some new skills. We have a whole thing in the back, our outro about 5D relationships and love in the Aquarian era, just really talking about all of that. And again, to help people liberate themselves from feeling like there's something wrong with them for not wanting to have a conventional relationship in every way when that model doesn't even work anymore in our world. So we hope that both of the books give people more freedom to move through the world and evolve as individuals. And as we evolve as individuals, maybe we'll start to hear each other differently and stop breaking into these polarized factions so much. So that's the hope. That's my optimistic Sagittarius hope.
No, it's perfect. And I love that. I love the ending where you talk about the 5D aspects as well. You know, I'm thinking this is such a great gift for the holidays, but it's also such a lovely like bridal shower gift or a wedding gift. You know, how fun to give them the tools right at the beginning to know like where we are and how we're matching up. I think that's really, really cool. And, you know, a lot of our listeners are audio and Kindle listeners and readers, which I love too. And I'm so happy that you all shared the digital with us, but I have to get the actual paper, you know.
We will get that sent to you. Make sure to give us your address.
Yeah.
Oh no, I will happily get it.
No way, we'll send it to you.
I just mean with all the charts and the graphs, like it's the type of book that you want to be able to pull off your shelf and flip through with your partner and go, look at this, look at the, you know.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate all the hard work you guys do. And I want to mention to listeners as well, follow them on social media, because if you are a beginner to astrology like I am, you will learn so much by their intricate posts. You ask questions, you post things for each and every sign, or you'll do it just for the fire, air, water. So every time I go on Instagram and I see you guys, I learn something new. So everyone, if you don't follow them, you got to follow them.
Thank you. To your point about the audio, one thing we did was Supercouple. So we know that you're going to need some guidance with it. So everyone who buys the book will get a login to supercouple.com, where we have a hub where you can do unlimited charts. You can download the companion PDFs. And we also have a special offer of we did a guided companion audio and workbook for individuals or couples who want to actually work planet by planet. So Tali made the how to read a composite chart video tutorial, and I did an audio about each planet one at a time, a module for each, just kind of in a conversational way. Because you might be like, so how do I deal with this? How do I deal with Mercury? So it's me talking to you like we're talking through each planet, so that you can really go, that's what I should be thinking about and looking for. We really want people to use these tools in a way. And we know that people like audio now because of the world we live in. So it was too much to do a Kindle book. It's a lot of information. So we have the companion audio is the answer to that.
Oh, I love that. You guys think of everything. And you guys seem to work so well together, which, you know, twins, I have twin nephews, and I'm so happy to say that they get along splendidly, even though they're twins, they're super different, but they get along great. But, you know, not always. And yet here you guys are, and you work together. You have this beautiful relationship. I love seeing that. I'm such fans of you guys. I really am.
Well, you guys are wonderful.
Thank you.
And we really appreciate everyone who's listening. And, you know, like every relationship, a twin relationship, and we always joke that we've been married our whole lives, which is why you know, we have a couple Slack threads that we would never want anyone to see. Like, I hate you. Yeah, you know, not that bad, but you know,
we have our passionate disagreements sometimes.
You know, she's a maximizer, I'm an achiever. We have different enneagrams. Ophi's a 7, so she gets really excited about big new ideas, and I'm an Enneagram 2, and I'm like, but how will that affect everyone? So we have our moments, but we do balance each other out really well, and
that's what makes you two a super couple.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right. Thank you. I guess we are. And it's like, but it's twice as much of what we've got. So it's either too much of a good thing. Yeah, you guys should do one for yourself.
Yeah, we should.
That would be fun. Yeah.
It
Probably a
would be.
Libra in the middle there, right? So
Yeah. Oh, I love that idea. I didn't even think about applying it to friends.
yeah. Oh yeah, you
We'll
should.
be rolling something out about that next year, no doubt. But we thought Supercouple was like a fun name, and people are getting back
is.
into relationships now after the pandemic, and it's a topic that astrology applies so
Yeah,
well
you're
to. But
podcasting
truthfully, yeah.
You're podcasting
Mhm.
Supercouple.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you should do it for all of your relationships, kids, parents, coworkers, anyone significant in your life. It's a guide to, and sometimes it's just something that's like, oh, well, look over Leo. No wonder we're out in public together or whatever. So,
my
mhm.
gosh. If I do this for my friends, my kids, my sisters, I'm going to be an astrologer by the end. I love it.
Really? Yeah. Really good.
Great way to learn. Do charts.
It
That's how it
really
happens.
is. That's the way to do it.
It is.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Denise, before we wrap up?
Well, I just wanted to wish you both a happy birthday coming up because
Thank
I
you.
know we're all
Thank
Sagittarius
you.
in this.
You too.
Thank you. And the book, truly so appreciative because you just summed it up beautifully a couple minutes ago of, I think a lot of times I'll say you're looking for the Venn diagram in a relationship where you keep your individuality and
Yeah.
autonomy, but you have the shared middle. And that's exactly what your book is doing. Supercouple lets people see how can I keep me and still have this beautiful connection with the people that I love. So thank you. Incredible
Oh.
resource.
You. Thanks for summing
Beautiful.
it up so perfectly
I
too.
know. I was like, perfectly said. Can I borrow that? Yeah. So,
You can do whatever you'd like with that.
Well, we'll just share the podcast when it
Yes,
comes, so everyone can listen
Yep.
to it. So
but, and just one last little plug is that the writing style is so beautiful. There's flow, there's ease, the tone. Thank you, because I think makes astrology and the concepts accessible to so many people that
Right.
may start this kind of an exploration and then say, too much, I'm out. So again, thank you.
then our mission
Thank
is
you for
accomplished.
saying
That
that.
means so much to us. Yeah.
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 Makes all the hours in
you.
this chair worthwhile. I just
And there are many. So thank you both for everything
Thank
that you
you.
guys do too. So,
Yes.
and for having
Thank you
us
so
on.
much. I'm going to post all of the links, as I said, in the show notes and on our Facebook and Instagram. But just as a reminder, astrostyle.com/supercouple. And please, guys, pick up a copy of Supercouple and their 2023 book. It's a great reference and it's just a fantastic tools. Thank you guys so much. Please remember, as always, to show up, do great work, and share your light.
Take care.